Alright, so worm bed. So I want to buy or build a worm composting bin, whatever it is. One, so I have some worms for fishing, I ain't gonna lie. And then I was thinking about doing some composting. So we have all this to pick from. I was thinking 5-gallon buckets. I just don't know. I've done them, I like them. But I think we're gonna go with these. They say they're 5 gallons. It's hard for me to believe these are 5 gallons, but okay. What y'all think? Forget the lids. Okay. I say we start with 3 of those, and you know, I should just get double. This weekend I was going to build a worm bin for some worms that I had coming in Monday. I only got 250 worms coming. Today's Friday. Well, FedEx decides to leave me a box. The worms are here a few days early. I appreciate getting there early. I'm just glad I wasn't planning on going anywhere for the weekend. So anyway, we need to get these worms out of the box, maybe into some standard dirt for now, and then let's get this bin built. Let's hurry. Here we go. Oh, look at there. What's that? Instructions? Yep. Worm instructions. Okay. So this time, I've used these in the past. This is from Uncle Jim's worm farm. This is what we're going to use again. This time we're going to build a smaller bin. I have done the bigger worm bins and they're just so heavy. So I'm going to try something new, something a little smaller. We're going to get to that. They're moving in there. So it looks like they're pretty healthy here. Always. There we go. Let's get this bin started. All right, first thing we're going to do is get this soaking. Since we didn't have this pre-done before the worms, this is my bad. But this here, it's whatever brand you want. This is Zedix. I've used this brand, I've used other brands. Just regular coco coir brick. I don't remember, $10, $15, y'all. It's not very expensive for 2. So we're only going to use the one to get started. And then the other one we can always add later. I only ordered 250 worms. Oh, this takes a lot of water. So you can see when I put this water in, it'll actually grow twice the size. And you can use, what is that, sphagnum peat moss, anything like that. All right, if you can see, we're just going to basically fill that up till it's covered. If there's extra water, you can just, basically it's like a sponge anyway, squeeze it out. We're going to set that aside. Now, all right, so 3 bins. So I've had, like I said, the big totes, and man, they get full. It's hard to move around. This is just going to go into the garage, sit on a shelf. So one, it's going to be for the reservoir to hold any kind of liquids. This is the bottom. Nothing is done with that one. Then the second one, we'll drill some holes in the bottom, and it'll go in. Any moisture goes out, and then we're going to do the same thing for the third one. So once this one gets established, the third one just sits in right on top of the dirt. We're going to put this actually inside the lid. We're going to cut the lid out, and it's going to sit in there. Let's get started. First, we're going to drill and we're going to drill all into the low spot. So when the liquid falls in, it's going to actually go into the bottom. So we're going to drill all these little lines. 1/4 inch is what I'm using, anything that size. All right, I think that's going to do that there. Now we need to drill some holes along the top for the airflow. So what I want to do is we're going to try to drill in between. So this is going to sit on the bottom, allows the moisture here. So we need the airflow to go through here. I don't put any of the air holes on the top of the lid. I mean, because at nighttime, this is where the worms, unless you're putting the light on top, worms are going to come out. And it's going to be a small drill bit this time, not anything big. What is that, like a 3/32? So when we drill, this will allow the airflow in, but the worms won't be able to get out. So we're going to start there and drill all this line all the way around. Okay, so we have these holes here, and that might be enough, but anyway, then we're just going to connect the dots. Okay, now clean these little edges up a little bit, and I think that should do it there. Now we want to do this ×2. Okay, so we did the one. We got all the holes here along the inside. We do that one more time. This will be the bottom one, this will be the top one. So put that on the side. Let's go ahead and do the other ones. All right, so now we want to cut out this section right here. And all this is for is take this out so that when we sit this in, it's gonna kind of fill that void in a little bit. That's all that's for. Not sure if you really need it, but anything we can do to keep the worms from crawling out. So we drilled a 1/4 inch hole here. Now we're just gonna take a jigsaw and start cutting. Okay. Now, just need to clean these little edges up. And then, so this will sit on top of here, like so. Okay. Then your other bin, like this, will set inside. Okay, so I end up cutting more out. I end up cutting because it was too tight, right? So maybe something you can even skip. Here it is. This is what it looks like Okay, so it goes all the way down. I'm trying to keep, it's going to be up probably about 2 inches. So I probably could lift some. So now, that's what it's going to be like. So we cut just a little bit extra. So when we put that dirt, even if it's lifted up some, like I say, not sure if this is even a necessary step, y'all. Y'all can probably just leave this out, because whenever you put all this composting in, your worm bed's eventually going to be all the way up here. So, you know, what I'm doing is probably just an extra step that you don't have to do. Just leave it out. So I was just trying to cover this void. But for now, that's where it's going to be. Okay. Now we have the holes here. We have the holes in the bottom. We have this cut. Now it's time to put the core in. Okay, so here is the core. Remember we put that water, we covered the whole top. So now this is what it's like. It doesn't take long. So now we can put all this in the bottom. We'll leave all that excess out. We'll squeeze it. You want it to, when we do this, you want to be able to squeeze. That's too much, right? So just squeeze it all out, okay? And then now, if you need to, you can squeeze some. So we want to compress as much water out. We want it damp. The worms don't want it dry. Okay, so for now, so one of these will be deleted, and this section will be deleted for now. Okay, all we're doing is we're going to have the one reservoir and then the worm bin itself. That's it. That's all we're doing for this, and one lid. Nothing special. So I'm going to rinse everything off, make sure we don't have any extra pieces of plastic. We don't really need, you know, everything needs to be biodegradable, I guess, so that worms can eat. Okay, now, like I said before, we're going to take and dump all this moisture out, and we're going to get this here started. Okay, again, we're going to squeeze as much as we can out, like that there. And that goes in there. And that way it's break apart. So these worms will eat this core, and then we're going to add, just to get the worms established, we're going to add just a little bit of cornmeal before we start putting any kind of lettuce or potato peels, eggshells. You know, this is a good thing to put in. We're going to put probably some coffee grounds as well, since I do drink a lot of coffee. We'll go ahead and mix in a few coffee grounds with this cornmeal, just enough to get them started. Again, this is only 250 worms, so we're just going to get the worms started, and then we're going to order probably another 500 for this section here. The good news, the good thing about these little ones is you can do a double setup. Like I'm planning on doing night crawlers. And so we'll do 2 bins, but you can stack these things up. You know, instead of just, you know, 2 bins like we have, you can do 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. And that way you can let the worms just travel back and forth. Put your compost on top, your food, and then they'll travel through them little holes. And you can make bigger holes if you want. So like in some of them do 1/2 inch holes. Give them room to move through. You know, right now it's just 1/4 inch holes to get through there. But you know, with night crawlers, obviously, I'll be doing the European night crawlers. We'll need bigger holes. So probably say 3/8. Give them room to move, but you know, we need to allow the moisture to get through. Okay, that's all we're gonna do there. But we are gonna put this on some of my pepper plants. We can turn that in once it dries out. Ain't gonna hurt nothing there. Okay, so that's all there, moving in. Now, for the fun part, let's get these worms in there. Okay, so we're gonna put some cornmeal in. It's nothing particular, no different kinds, whatever. We're just looking for just a little bit to feed the young ones, just enough to get it started. Okay, and we're gonna sprinkle just a little bit. Okay, then coffee grounds. You can literally put the whole filter in there if you want. So I'm gonna put this in one little corner, tear it up, and when you start, and I'll show y'all a process later, when you're doing the food for the worms, if you will take and blend, if you got your little food processor and whatever fruit and vegetable, if you'll kind of throw some water in and build it to like a paste, it is a little bit easier to digest. It won't take as long. You get your compost a little bit faster. Okay, so that's there. We can kind of blend that a little bit. Now the worms, we're not going to bury. We're going to put them right on top. Okay. There they go. And they will find their way in. Look at them, the little young ones there. I believe there's more than 250 of them in there, but either are. So we're going to go ahead and order another 250 or 500 to go ahead and bring in, and then I think we're going to go ahead and start our European, some kind of night crawlers. All right, guys, that's all we're doing on that. So they'll start finding their way in. Now this is dry, okay? So tomorrow we'll probably miss this. Once they get in there, I'm not going to terrorize them. Once this gets in, we can kind of fluff it up a little bit, make sure that moisture content's good. Okay, that's it. So we put the lid on, and it is just going to go inside the garage. Nothing special. It's going to go on a shelf. We'll put it right here by the kombucha and the fishing lures. So with this, I mean, you can, this here will stack up all the way to here, and you can put several of them in on a rack or on the floor or whatever. And they're out of the light. Keep them cool. All right, guys, that's it for today. So we'll get some more worms coming and probably build up another setup for the night crawlers, just because I like fishing more with the night crawlers, depending on what I'm fishing with. We do have some compost going, and that's about it. So y'all got any comments, leave them please, and like, subscribe, and there'll be some links in the description. Coconut coir and the worms, really that's all we need. The Totes, Lowe's, Home Depot, y'all know the drill. Walmart, there's always something. Keep it simple, keep it small. It's just worms. It's just a compost. All right, I'm out. Thanks, guys.